Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Today we're tackling a really thought-provoking philosophy.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
It's called A Complicated Way of Life.
A complicated way of life. Catchy.
But you can just call it AC Wall for short.
Makes sense. So what's so complicated about this way of life?
Well, that's what we're going to find out.
All right, let's dive in.
We've got this excerpt that really zeroes in on the ideas of conscience and something called vikarma.
Vikarma. Haven't heard that one before.
It's a pretty powerful concept. Basically, AC Wall is all about using your inner compass, your conscience, to navigate life's choices.
Sounds like it's about making choices that lead to positive outcomes, right?
Exactly. So are you ready to see how AC Wall can help us all figure out this whole complicated life thing?
Absolutely. I'm always up for a good challenge, especially if it involves some deep thinking.
Great. So one of the things that really stands out about AC Wall is this idea that it doesn't give you a set of rules to follow.
Oh, interesting. So it's not like a rule book for life.
Not at all. Instead, it stresses how important it is to develop your own internal moral compass.
You mean it's not about someone telling us what's right and wrong, but figuring that out for ourselves?
Exactly. It's all about cultivating that inner sense of knowing what's right and letting that inner voice guide you.
I can definitely see how that could be empowering. But how exactly does AC Wall help you, actually strengthen that inner voice?
That's where this concept of vikarma comes into play.
Okay, so what is vikarma?
Think of it as the consequence of actions that go against your conscience. You accumulate this negative karma.
So if I do something that I know deep down isn't right, I'm creating this vikarma.
Yeah, and AC Wall describes it as almost like building up a karmic debt.
That's a really interesting way to put it. So every time you act against your conscience, it's like taking on a little bit of debt.
Exactly. And it's not just about feeling bad or guilty. There are real consequences for not listening to your conscience. At least that's what AC Wall suggests.
Wow, there are actual consequences to not listening to your conscience.
That's what the idea of vikarma implies, yeah. But there's good news. AC Wall doesn't just leave you hanging with this debt. It offers a way out.
Okay, I was going to ask about that. So how do we get out of this karmic debt?
By making choices that are in line with your conscience. By living a life guided by your inner truth, you chip away at that debt. And ultimately, you can move towards something called moksha.
Moksha.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of that?
I can't say that I have.
Well, moksha is like ultimate liberation. It's freedom from that whole cycle of cause and effect, freedom from the burdens of your vikarma.
Whoa, freedom from the cycle of cause and effect. That's a pretty big claim.
It is, and this idea of moksha really gets to the heart of what AC Wall is all about.
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, by living in tune with our conscience, we can actually work toward a state of complete liberation.
That's the idea, and it's a pretty powerful one, right?
It really is. But with all the noise and distractions in the world, it can be pretty tough to stay in tune with your conscience. How do you even begin to filter all of that out?
That's a great point. And that's where AC Wall brings in what we can think of as 5 tools. They act as a sort of filter for all that external pressure and noise to help you make decisions that are truly your own.
5 tools? Like what?
Think of it like this. Imagine a spam filter, but for your mind.
I like that analogy. So it helps you sort through all the junk and focus on the important stuff.
Exactly. These tools are like a toolkit for making those conscious choices.
Okay, I'm sold. What are these tools?
One of them is really about being a critical thinker.
Critical thinking.
Yeah, so it means questioning information, not just accepting things at face value, evaluating sources and really thinking for yourself.
So it's not about blindly following tradition or what everyone else is doing.
Nope. It's about thinking things through. And logic is another tool that helps with that. It's about examining situations rationally and looking for evidence.
So critical thinking and logic. Got it. What else is in this toolkit?
Well, there's also science. AC Wall really emphasizes viewing the world through a scientific lens.
Interesting. So understanding cause and effect and all that.
Precisely. And then you've got common sense, which might sound basic, but it's really powerful.
I know what you mean. Common sense is so underrated.
It really is. It's about trusting that gut feeling that tells you something is right or wrong.
And that innate wisdom we all have, right?
Exactly. So you've got critical thinking, logic, science, and common sense. But there's one more.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the 5th tool?
Self-awareness. It's like the foundation of all the other tools. You have to know yourself to truly listen to your conscience.
That makes sense. So all of these tools are really about empowering us to make decisions based on our own inner compass rather than being swayed by outside pressures.
Exactly, and that's what AC Wall is all about.
But how does this play out in our daily lives? When we're faced with tough decisions?
Well, imagine you have a big choice to make. Could be about your job, could be about a relationship, whatever. AC Wall says, stop, take a breath, and ask yourself, what does my conscience say about this? What feels right deep down inside?
I can see how that would be helpful. It's like taking a step back from the situation and really tuning into your inner voice.
Exactly. And then you can use those 5 tools, the logic, the science, the common sense, all of it, to really evaluate the situation.
So it's not about being perfect or always knowing the right answer, but it's about constantly checking in with yourself and striving to make choices that align with your conscience.
That's a great way to put it.
So AC Wall doesn't hand you a rule book, but gives you this framework, for self-reflection and making conscious choices.
And it's a journey, you're constantly learning and growing.
Becoming more in tune with that inner compass.
Exactly. Always striving to get a little bit closer to that ultimate liberation, to moksha.
I like that. So to wrap up what we've learned today, AC Wall is all about listening to your conscience.
Right. And we talked about vikarma.
That karmic debt that piles up when you ignore your inner voice.
And how living in harmony with your conscience can put you on a path to moksha, that state of liberation.
And we can use those 5 powerful tools to help us navigate all the complexities of life.
Yes. It's about using critical thinking, logic, science, common sense, and self-awareness to make choices that feel right.
This has been a really thought-provoking deep dive. But now, how do we actually put all of this into practice?
That's the million-dollar question. How can each of us better cultivate that connection with our conscience?
And how can we use that inner compass to make decisions that truly reflect who we are?
That's something for all of us to think about.
I know I will be.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. I hope it's gotten you thinking about the incredible power of conscience and all these ideas behind AC Wall.
I know I have.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.